The hot iron burned into my back like fire eating my skin. I was 9 years old, half naked, and screaming in a stranger's compound while my own aunt threw pepper on my fresh wounds. "Get out of my house," she shouted, picking up a stone. "Don't ever come back." I ran barefoot into the busy Lagos streets, blood and tears mixing on my face, with nowhere to go and no one to call my name. But that's not where my story begins. Let me take you back to when I was just 7, before I knew that family could be your greatest enemy, before I learned that survival sometimes means forgetting how to trust. My name is Obioma, and I am the 3rd child in a family of 6 girls. This is my story. We lived in a small house that always felt too crowded. My father worked for the government, but his salary was very small. Every month we watched him count the money over and over, trying to make it stretch. My mother sold things in the market, but most days she barely made enough to buy food for all of us. "There's no rice left," my mother would say, looking into the empty pot. "We'll have to eat gari again tonight." My stomach would growl, but I learned not to complain. We all did. The real problem started because we were all girls. In our community, people believed every family needed boys. They said boys would take care of their parents when they got old. Boys would carry on the family name. But we had no boys, just 6 girls. People in our neighborhood started talking. They would whisper when my father walked by. "Look at him," they would say. "6 children and not 1 boy. What kind of man is that?" My father would come home with his head down. I could see the shame in his eyes. "Maybe we should try again," my mother would say quietly. "Maybe the next one will be a boy." But my father would shake his head. "We can barely feed the ones we have now." As months passed, the talking got louder. People stopped whispering and started saying things directly to my parents. "You should give some of those girls away," our neighbor Mrs. Adana told my mother one day. "Find families that need house help. At least they will eat well." My mother's face got hard. I will never give my children away. They are not burdens." But Mrs. Adana kept pushing. "You're being selfish. Look at them. They're getting thin. At least as house girls, they will have food every day." I watched my mother's hands shake as she turned away. That night I heard my parents talking in low voices in their room. "Maybe she's right," my father said. "Maybe it would be better for them." "No," my mother said firmly. "I carried these children for 9 months each. I will not let strangers raise them." Everything changed when my father's sister, Aunty Ngozi, got married. She was very happy and proud of her new life in Lagos. 9 months later, she had a baby girl. When the baby was 3 months old, Aunty Ngozi came to visit us. She looked around our small house and saw how we lived. She saw how my mother struggled to cook enough food for everyone. "Brother," she said to my father, "let me take one of the girls with me to Lagos. I can give her a better life there." My father shook his head immediately. "No, Ngozi, we keep our family together." But Aunty Ngozi was smart. She didn't give up. Instead, she went to the neighbors and told them what she had offered. Soon, everyone in the neighborhood was talking about it. "Your own sister wants to help your child, and you said no?" Mr. Chukwu asked my father. "What kind of father are you?" "She's offering to take the girl to Lagos," Mrs. Adana added. "Lagos? Do you know what opportunities are there? And you're keeping her here to suffer." The pressure got worse every day. People called my father stubborn and foolish. They said he didn't care about his children's future. After 2 weeks of constant pressure, my father called me aside one evening. "Obioma," he said, not looking at me, "how would you like to go to Lagos with Aunty Ngozi?" I was 7 years old, but I was tall for my age. People often thought I was 10. I didn't really understand what Lagos meant, but I knew it was far away. "Will I come back to visit?" I asked. My father was quiet for a long time. "Yes," he finally said, "of course you will." but I could tell he wasn't sure. My mother cried when she heard the decision. She held me tight that night. "Be a good girl," she whispered. "Listen to Aunty Ngozi. Study hard in school." I nodded, not knowing that school was not part of Aunty Ngozi's plan for me. The bus ride to Lagos took 6 hours. I had never been so far from home. Aunty Ngozi talked the whole way about how lucky I was. "You're going to live in a big city," she said. "You'll eat good food every day. You'll go to the best schools." I believed her. I was excited. When we got to Lagos, I couldn't believe how big everything was. There were so many cars, so many people, so many tall buildings. Aunty Ngozi's house was much bigger than ours. It had a real toilet inside, not like the one we shared with other families back home. "This is your new home," Aunty Ngozi said, showing me around. "And this is Princess, your little cousin." Princess was 6 months old, round and beautiful. She had the softest skin and the brightest eyes. When she smiled, everyone in the room would smile too. "You're going to help take care of her," Aunty Ngozi told me. "She's very special. We have to make sure nothing bad happens to her." I thought helping meant playing with her sometimes. I didn't know it meant doing everything. Within a week, I learned what my real job was. I woke up at 5 a.m. every morning to prepare Princess's food. I mixed her baby formula, making sure it wasn't too hot or too cold. I washed her bottles and cleaned them carefully. When Princess woke up, I would change her diaper and dress her in clean clothes. I would carry her around the house when she cried. I would sing to her and rock her to sleep. "Where's the school registration form?" I asked Aunty Ngozi after my first month there. She looked at me like I had said something stupid. "What school?" "You have work to do here. Princess needs you." "But you told my father you would put me in school." Her face got angry. "Don't question me. You have a roof over your head and food to eat. That should be enough." I wanted to argue, but I was scared. Aunty Ngozi's voice was different from the sweet voice she used when talking to my father. At first, Aunty Ngozi only shouted when I made mistakes. If I was too slow preparing Princess's food, she would yell at me. If Princess cried too long, she blamed me. "What kind of help are you?" she would say. "Can't you see she's uncomfortable?" But after 3 months, the shouting turned into hitting. The first time she slapped me was when I accidentally spilled Princess's food on the floor. My hand was shaking from being tired, and the bowl slipped. "You stupid girl," she screamed, hitting me across the face. "Do you know how much that food costs?" My cheek burned, but I didn't cry. I just cleaned up the mess and made new food. The hitting got worse. She would use anything she could find. Her hand, a wooden spoon, a belt. My body was always sore somewhere. Uncle Emeka, Aunty Ngozi's husband, was hardly ever home. He worked long hours and traveled a lot for business. When he was home, Aunty Ngozi was always sweet and nice. "How is our little helper doing?" Uncle Emeka would ask me. "She's doing very well," Aunty Ngozi would answer for me. "Very hard-working." If Uncle Emeka noticed the marks on my arms or face, Aunty Ngozi had ready answers. "She's been fighting with children at school," she would lie. "You know how children can be." I wanted to tell him the truth, but Aunty Ngozi made sure I was never alone with him. After a year, things got much harder for Uncle Emeka's business. He started coming home stressed and angry. Sometimes I would hear him and Aunty Ngozi arguing about money late at night. "The rent is due next week," Uncle Emeka would say. "I don't know where we'll get the money." "We'll manage," Aunty Ngozi would reply. "We always do." But managing meant taking out all her anger on me. Now she didn't need a reason to hit me. If she was in a bad mood, I got beaten. If Princess cried, I got beaten. If the food wasn't ready on time, I got beaten. The wooden spoon in the kitchen became her favorite weapon. She would grab it and hit me on my head, my arms, my back, anywhere she could reach. "You're useless," she would say while hitting me. "Your parents were smart to give you away. They knew you were worthless." Those words hurt more than the beatings. When Uncle Emeka started traveling more for work, strange men began coming to the house. They would arrive in the afternoon when Princess was napping and I was doing housework. "Go to your room and don't come out until I call you," Auntie Ngozi would tell me. I would hear voices from her bedroom for hours. Different men on different days. They would leave money on the table before going. After they left, Auntie Ngozi would grab my ear hard and pull me close to her face. "If you ever tell Uncle Emeka about any visitors, I will kill you," she would whisper. "Do you understand me?" I would nod quickly. I was too scared to do anything else. 2 years had passed since I came to Lagos. I was now 9 years old, and Princess was 2.5. She could walk and talk a little, but Auntie Ngozi never let her do anything for herself. On that terrible day, Auntie Ngozi had gone to the market. Princess was sleeping peacefully on the bed, and I had put pillows around her so she wouldn't fall off. I went to the kitchen to cook the yam Auntie Ngozi had told me to prepare. I peeled all the yams carefully and put them on the fire. I was washing my hands when I heard a loud thump from the bedroom, followed by Princess's crying. My heart stopped. I ran to the room just as Auntie Ngozi was opening the front door. Princess had somehow climbed over the pillows and fallen off the bed. She was crying loudly, and there was a small bump on her forehead. Auntie Ngozi saw me picking up Princess and immediately knew what had happened. Her face became dark with anger. "What did you do to her?" she screamed, taking Princess from me. "She fell off the bed," I said, crying. "I put pillows around her, but she climbed over them." "You left her alone?" Auntie Ngozi shouted. "I told you to watch her." "I was cooking like you told me to," I tried to explain, but she wasn't listening anymore. "Go outside right now," Auntie Ngozi ordered. "Kneel down under the sun and raise your hands up." I did what she said, crying and shaking. The sun was very hot that day. My knees hurt on the concrete floor of the compound. I thought she would leave me there for an hour like she usually did. But after 20 minutes, I saw her coming out of the house, carrying something that made my blood freeze. She had a hot iron in one hand and ground pepper in the other. "Take off your shirt," she said. "Please, Auntie," I begged. "I'm sorry. It won't happen again." "Take it off now." My hands were shaking as I removed my shirt. I had started developing small breasts, but I was too scared to be embarrassed. The hot iron touched my back, and I screamed like I had never screamed before. The pain was like fire eating my skin. Then she threw the pepper on the burn, and the pain became even worse. I thought I was going to die. "Get out of my house," she shouted, picking up a stone. "Don't ever come back here." "Please, Auntie, I'm sorry," I cried, but she threw the stone at me. I ran out of the compound half naked, with fresh burns on my back and nowhere to go. People on the street stared at me. Some recognized me. "Isn't that the girl who lives with Auntie Ngozi?" they whispered to each other. What did she do this time? I found an uncompleted building and sat inside it. I couldn't lean my back against anything because of the burns. I was hungry, thirsty, and in terrible pain. The first day passed. Auntie Ngozi didn't come looking for me. The second day was the same. I began to think she really meant it when she said never to come back. On the third day, a woman who sold groundnuts near the building saw me and gave me some groundnuts and gari. I mixed them with water and ate. It was the first food I had eaten in 3 days. That same day, an older woman approached me. She looked kind, with gentle eyes and a soft voice. "My child," she said, "what are you doing here alone?" I was too scared to answer at first. "I know you," she continued. "You're from my village. Your mother is Neoma, and your father is Okwudili. I am Mama Nkem." When she mentioned my parents' names, I started crying. It had been so long since someone spoke kindly to me. "Where is the woman you're staying with?" Mama Unkem asked. I told her everything. About the burn, about being sent away, about being scared to go back. We're going to that house right now, Mama Unkem said firmly. Show me the way. I was terrified to return to Auntie Ngozi's house, but Mama Unkem held my hand and gave me courage. When Auntie Ngozi opened the door and saw me, her face became angry again. But then she noticed Mama Unkem and tried to smile. Oh, hello. How can I help you? I found this child sleeping in an uncompleted building, Mama Unkem said. She says she lives here. I noticed Uncle Emeka was home. He was sitting in the living room reading a newspaper. Oh yes, Auntie Ngozi lied smoothly. I sent her to help someone from our church for a few days. She was supposed to come back yesterday. Is that true? Mama Unkem asked me. I looked at Auntie Ngozi's angry face and then at Uncle Emeka. I was tired of lying. No, Ma, I said quietly. She sent me away with hot iron burns on my back. Uncle Emeka looked up from his newspaper. What burns? Before Auntie Ngozi could stop me, I turned around and showed them my back. The burns had formed ugly, raised scars. Jesus Christ! Uncle Emeka dropped his newspaper and rushed to look at my back. What happened to this child? Auntie Ngozi's face went pale. She tried to explain, but Mama Unkem cut her off. This child needs to go home to her parents immediately, Mama Unkem said. Look what you've done to her. Uncle Emeka was quiet for a long time, looking at my scars. Finally, he spoke. Pack her things, he told his wife. She's going home tomorrow. The bus ride back home felt different from when I had come to Lagos 2 years before. I was scared to see my family. I looked thin and sick. My stomach was swollen from not eating well. The scars on my back were ugly and permanent. When I got home, my mother cried when she saw me. She hugged me carefully, trying not to touch my back. My child, she whispered, what did they do to you? My father couldn't look at me for the first few days. I think he felt guilty for sending me away. My sisters were shocked to see how I looked. They had grown and changed, but I looked like I had been sick for 2 years. The worst part was school. I had missed 2 whole years. When I finally enrolled, I had to be in the same class as my younger sister. It was embarrassing, but I was determined to catch up. School was hard at first. The other children were much younger than me, and I felt out of place. But I was determined not to let Auntie Ngozi's treatment of me ruin my future. I studied harder than anyone else in my class. When other children were playing, I was reading. When they were watching TV, I was doing homework. My sisters helped me. They would teach me things they had learned while I was away. Slowly, I started catching up. You're going to be okay, my older sister would tell me when I felt discouraged. You're stronger than you know. And she was right. Each month I got better at school. Each month I felt more like myself again. While I was struggling to catch up in school, my older sister was finishing hers. She was very smart and worked hard. When she graduated, she got a job with a big company in Lagos. Everything changed for our family after that. My sister sent money home every month. She helped my father finish building our house, and then he rented out rooms for extra income. She paid for all of our school fees. Suddenly, we weren't the poor family with too many girls anymore. We were the family whose daughter had made it in Lagos. The same people who used to mock my father started praising him. Your daughters are your wealth, they would say. Look how well you raised them. My father would just smile. He never reminded them of what they used to say. I finished primary school, then secondary school. I worked harder than anyone else because I had lost time, but I caught up and even did better than many of my classmates. When it was time for university, I got admission to study accountancy at Nnamdi Azikiwe University. My younger sister got admission to study nursing at the same school. It felt like a dream. The girl who had been treated like a house slave was going to university. I graduated with second-class upper division. After graduation, I studied for my professional accounting exams and became certified. When I applied for jobs, PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, called me for an interview. I got the job as an auditor. My first salary was more money than my father had ever made in a year. During my grandmother's burial ceremony, Aunty Ngozi came. I saw her from far away and my whole body started shaking. All the memories came flooding back. She approached me carefully. "Obioma," she said quietly, "I know I hurt you. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me." The first day I couldn't speak to her. I just walked away. But that night I thought about everything, about how far I had come, about how my life had turned out well despite what she did to me. The next day, when she came again, I was ready. "I forgive you, Auntie," I said, "but I will never forget." She cried and thanked me. Later, I heard that her life had not gone well. Princess, the little girl I had taken care of, got pregnant before marriage and dropped out of school. Uncle Emeka had divorced Aunty Ngozi when he found out about her affairs with other men. Now I am married to a wonderful man who loves and respects me. We have 3 beautiful children together. I earn good money and live comfortably. Sometimes my children ask about the scars on my back. I tell them it's a reminder that difficult times don't last, but strong people do. The people who used to mock my family and suggest we should be given away as house helps now use us as examples when talking to their own children. "Look at Okwudili's daughters," they say. "See how successful they became. Education is the key to success." My father smiles when he hears this. He knows that keeping his family together, even when it was hard, was the right choice. And I know that every scar on my back was worth it, because it led me to become the strong woman I am today. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share.